Hello everyone, welcome to the first Pokemon battle on my channel in 2014. This is a thing, and I hope you all had a nice new year, but it's time for some new battles on this channel, yes Batman! And this shall be one. This is against LarzimusPrime. We both got kind of a mismatch of dues. I wanted to try out Mega Pinsir again, because I love that thing. I want my Yanmega to do something, so threw those together, added some extra dudes, and we are ready to rock and roll. So, I am going to lead off with Azumarill, who is not going to be very favourably staying in against Klefki, because one, he could Thunder Wave me, which wouldn't be too nice. It's not the worst thing, because Azumarill's pretty slow. Two, though, he could set up a Reflect, which means I would not be able to really hurt him or do much damage. So, I'm going to Excadrill for one of three reasons. One, because I can dodge a Thunder Wave. Two, because if he tries to set up spikes, I can spin them away with Rapid Spin. And three, I can hit him with a super effective Earthquake and hopefully eliminate him from the field of play. However, none of that happens because he ends up going for a sub on my switch, then going for a spikes, but I can't really spin right now. I just have to get rid of that sub before I get the hazards off the field, and that's exactly what I do. So I get rid of it, and now we're kind of playing a game here as to whether he's going to go into Noivern, or whether he's going to stay in and take another Earthquake and sub and try and scout me. I predict the switch to Noivern, and the reason I do this and go for the Rock Slide instead of just being safe and Earthquaking is because if Noivern comes in, it actually has a really good amount of moves that it can hit most of my team with. The only thing I can safely switch into it with is my Azumarill, and even then, if he's carrying Hurricane and goes for it, that's going to 2-hit KO me on the switch anyway, so makes a lot of sense that he would have gone to it because it would threaten me greatly, but ends up going for the sub instead, meaning that I unfortunately waste a bit of a turn, and it means that in the process, he's going to be able to go for a free foul play, which breaks my balloon and a 2-hit KO, owing to the fact that unfortunately Excadrill, being a steel type, no longer resists the dark. So that sucks. That's the one thing that kind of Klefki has on Excadrill. If it didn't have the neutral hit with foul play, then I would be decent, counter in general to Klefki, but that's really not going to be the case, and unfortunately, as it happens, he just wants to sub here, and, it's kind of this thing in my head. I'm like, he's going to go to Noivern at some point he's going to stop subbing, and he's going to switch, but I'm really kind of finicky here, because if I make the wrong play, then he's going to end up killing me with a foul play. I'm not going to be able to spin away the hazards with my Excadrill. So, I keep going for the Earthquakes, and he's going down, but it looks at this point, either he's going to sub one more time, or he's going to save Klefki, and I thought, being just the creature of habit that he had been so far and substituting as much as he had, he would stay in for the final sub, but he doesn't, and that's where he makes the play and goes into Noivern. Now, I'm really forced here to go to Azumarill. It's my only switch in to safely take this thing on, and thankfully goes for the Dragon Pulse. Now, he switches here, meaning one of two things. Either, A, he's specs and locked into Dragon Pulse, or B, he's Life Orb and just doesn't feel comfortable staying in on Azumarill, knowing that he can't one-hit KO me, and also knowing that I have Play Rough, most likely Choice Band, and can one-hit KO him in return. So instead, he opts to go for a switch into his Sylveon, either making the thought process that a lot of people do for some reason, thinking that Fairy resists Fairy, going to Sylveon thinking that would work. But no, Fairy doesn't resist Fairy. It's just one of those common misconceptions, I feel. And I one-shot it. I one-shot the Sylveon, which is utterly fantastic, and great. So now goes into the Toxicroak, which I can't stay on with the Azumarill because I'm weak to the poison. Have to go into Skarmory to take the poison jab fantastically, as I'm immune to it, and can obviously set up some spikes on the switch as he goes back into Klefki. Now, the switch to Klefki was kind of obvious, and in order to kind of avoid the situation where he gets up a free substitute, what I could have done, instead of staying in and going for the spikes, was make a proactive switch into Excadrill immediately, meaning I would have threatened the Klefki, and not allowed it to have a free substitute on the switch as it does gain here, which basically means that he's able to kill me with a foul play because he's behind a protected barrier, and the Earthquake is obviously not going to kill him. He could have also potentially gone for some extra spikes, but in the end it wouldn't have really worked out because it meant that my Excadrill would have still been alive after the fact, and I would have been able to potentially spin away the hazards. But at this point, my options are either to A, spin away the hazards while he's behind a sub and leave him with a free one, or go for the Earthquake to take away that sub and allow me to bring in something to revenge kill it. If I had something like Noivern, then I would have stayed in and Rapid Spun, because Noivern could have come in, broken through the sub with Infiltrator, and been able to finish off the Klefki there, but not the case. I actually make a bad play here, which is going into my Yanmega on the Klefki, thinking, oh, I can outspeed and kill it with an Air Slash, because I'm actually running Specs Tinted Lens on this Yanmega, which is really cool. But forgetting that it has Prankster and Thunderwave, I kind of ruined my Yanmega, and it is unfortunately going to go down to his Noivern, because I'm now paralyzed and slower. And there's no reason for me to keep it around, honestly. So I'm just going to save, let it die, let it go. And also gives me an opportunity to see whether this Noivern is in fact Life Orb. And turns out it is Life Orb, which means I can go into Azumarill, live one hit, and kill it with a Play Rough, and that is the case. As he goes for the Boom Burst, turns out he doesn't have Hurricane. Either that, or he didn't want Hurricane to miss, and therefore went for the more reliable move in Boom Burst. Doesn't kill me, take him out with a Play Rough, and Azumarill has done a lot of work here. Killed 2 of the things, and is still useful for some Aqua Jetting. However, Toxicroak is a thing in my way because it is going to have the dry skin, which means it can take the water moves, and it also resists the Play Rough, which is a problem. So, I'm going to have to go to my Skarmory because it's my built-in counter for this guy. He ends up going for the Sucker Punch for the neutral hit, which wouldn't have done much anyway because I am fully defensive. But I went for some spikes regardless, thinking that he would switch out to something else. But now, I have a feeling he's going to switch, thinking he can't do anything to my Skarmory, and which is why I go for the Whirlwind. But it works out anyway, because he actually tries to set up on me by going for the Power-Up Punch, as he's running one of those ones. Kind of interesting, not seen that before. And I, in fact, Whirlwind him out, not only removing his boost, but bringing in something that I can easily take on, which is a Mega Pinsir, and, get some spikes damage on that as well. Now, it was actually a very easy play to make here, because no matter what he did, I was basically going to guaranteed kill him with a Brave Bird. I know I can live at least one hit from no attack boosted Pinsir, and if he's going to Swords Dance, then he's just leaving himself open to the fire of my Brave Bird, which is going to hit as he predicts me to switch, or predicts to live a Brave Bird or something. He's seen Whirlwind. I could have done that and blown him away also. It doesn't work out. Doesn't work out at all. Pinsir is gone out the way. Fantastic. Means that I can get my own Pinsir for some work in the late game. Maybe that'll work out. But now goes into Goodra. I am obviously not wanting to take a fire move because these things can carry either Flamethrower or Fire Blast. And I go into Azumarill hoping to maybe, after the spikes damage, live a resisted hit and get off an Aqua Jet or something of the sort. But not going to be the case. Goes to the Ice Beam, and even though that is also resisted, Azumarill is not going to take it at the low amount of HP that it is currently at. So, now we're going to have the battle of the Goodras. It's Goodra versus Goodra. His is in fact a more offensive one, whereas mine is the Assault Vest variant. And you will see that Assault Vest comes in very handy here, as look how well I take that Draco Meteor. That's really good. Unfortunately, I missed the Dragon Tail, which is kind of a blessing in disguise. I'll tell you why. Mainly, the reason is because he's going to be able to lower his special attack even more by going for more Draco Meteors, to the point at which, when my Goodra dies, I will be able to freely bring in my Pinsir, Mega Evolve, get off a free Swords Dance, and finish off the rest of his team, and that is kind of what I was thinking. But, turns out that he's actually running a Resto Chesto, and he decides to go for the rest there on the turn, where I go for a Dragon Pulse, and I'm easily able to 2-hit KO this thing with my stock Dragon Pulse, meaning that as long as I can live another hit, which turns out I can, because he goes for Ice Beam instead of Draco, and I may well have lived a Draco anyway, but I'm actually going to be able to take out his Goodra instead of him killing me. So, rock on, Assault Vest Goodra. Apparently, you take on Chesto Resto in 1-to-1, single-handed combat. But now we have a little bit of a problem, because in comes Toxicroak, and it can potentially take down my Pinsir because of the fact that with Power-Up Punch he gets the +1 attack boost, meaning that being faster, his Sucker Punch with +1 attack may well be able to outspeed me, do more damage, and finish me off before I'm able to quick attack him. However, ladies and gentlemen, very core thing you should have paid attention to, when he Power-Up Punched, yes, the GUI came into play. The ability on my Goodra GUI was able to lower his speed, meaning, ladies and gentlemen, even if he has the +1 attack, he now has the -1 speed, meaning that my Pinsir is going to out-priority him with my quick attack over his Sucker Punch, and it is super effective thanks to the Aerialate boost, and it is stab, and it is fantastic, and the quick attack is able to finish off the Toxicroak, sealing the deal, finishing the game, and winning me the match. So, really cool stuff there. It was a really interesting game, and I don't know, I feel like I went into a lot of detail here, so that was good. A good start to 2014, God. What a year this should be. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like down below. That would be absolutely fantastic. And, next time I'll do some more battles, and that'll be that. So until then, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you then. Goodbye.